Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Circle, coming to you from Global Television here in Abuja. I am Ubong Usoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. President Bola Tinubu sworn in Professor George Amopiton as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission at the State House in Abuja. The ceremony follows the Senate's confirmation of Amopiton's appointment after a rigorous screening session on October the 16th. President Tinubu charged the new INEC boss to safeguard the integrity of Nigeria's elections and strengthen the Commission's institutional capacity. In another development, Nigeria's new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor George Amopiton, has pledged to uphold the highest standards of integrity and transparency in the nation's electoral process. The new INEC chairman made the commitment shortly after he was sworn in by President Bola Tinubu in Abuja. Aniete Patrick has more. All right, we'll bring you that report in a subsequent bulletin. Senate is set to amend the Federal Road Maintenance Agency Act to secure better funding and improve road maintenance across the country. Topsy Gimba has details.
The Senate Committee of FEMA highlighted this during the screening of President Bola Tinubu's nominee for chairman of the FEMA Board of Trustees. The committee, led by Senator Sha'abi Alhaji Yau Zamfara North, expressed concern over the continued poor state of federal roads, attributing the challenge to inadequate funding of FEMA. Senator Yau lamented that despite FEMA's critical role in maintaining the nation's road infrastructure, lack of sufficient funds has hampered effective operations.
FEMA should be an agency that should be well funded, and we are looking forward at a situation whereby we will make some amendments into the law that created FEMA for us to be able to make it work well and properly.
Responding to lawmakers' questions, Musa Babayo, nominee for FEMA board chairman, vowed to use his extensive public service experience to reform and strengthen the agency's capacity.
For FEMA to succeed, we need that collaboration, especially at the National Assembly level. The Committee on PAMA at both chambers of the National Assembly will continue to engage with other critical stakeholders and other institutions of state, the Ministry of Finance, the ICRC, and other development partners.
Babayo's confirmation could mark a turning point as the Senate works towards amending the FEMA Act to enhance funding mechanisms aiming to deliver safer, more reliable roads for Nigerians. The amendment, once passed, is expected to boost the agency's budget and operational efficiency towards tackling Nigeria's road infrastructure challenges decisively. Topsy Gimba reporting for Global Television News.
The House of Representatives is demanding answers from the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetoku, over reports that officers manning checkpoints in parts of the southeast and south-south are not properly kitted. This followed a motion of urgent public importance raised by the Abia State lawmaker Ibe Usunwa, who described the training among personnel of the Nigerian Police and Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps as alarming and a threat to national security. Detained indigenous people of Biafra leader Nnamdi Kanu has told the Federal High Court in Abuja that he will defend himself after his lead counsel Kanu Agabi and other senior advocates withdrew from the case. Nnamdi Kanu confirmed in the court that he has taken over his legal representation, declining the judge's offer to assign him a new lawyer. Defending himself orally, he argued that the courts lacked jurisdiction to try him on the charges filed by the federal government. Human rights activist and 2023 AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has been arrested by the police at the Federal High Court in Abuja shortly after showing solidarity with the detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. Police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin confirmed the arrest, saying Sowore violated a court order banning protest around the three armed zones and will be charged in court. His lawyer, Yini Berefion, has described the arrest as outrageous, accusing authorities of making a mockery of the Nigeria's judicial system. The Nigeria Police Force says it has intensified its clampdown on gun runners and criminal networks supplying arms to bandits and kidnappers across the country. At a press briefing in Abuja, Force Public Relations Officer CSP Benjamin Hundeyin disclosed that several high-caliber weapons were recovered and 9 suspects arrested in coordinated operations led by the Force Intelligence Department Intelligence Response Team. Our correspondent now brings reports.
In a renewed offensive against illegal arms trade, operatives of the Intelligence Response Team have dismantled multiple syndicates operating across Nasarawa, Plateau, Taraba, Kaduna, and Benue states. The Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Hundeyin, reveals that over the past month, the police recovered 4 AK-47 rifles, 2 AK-47 rifles, 4 pump-action guns, and 15 magazines, more than 600 rounds of live ammunition, and other locally fabricated weapons in a series of intelligence-led raids.
The achievements we're presenting today, the achievements of the Nigeria Police Force, were proudly carried out by the Intelligence Response Team, the IRT of the Force Intelligence Department. And this is in furtherance of the charge of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeoluwa-Egbetokun, PhD, NPM, to officers and men of the force to ensure that crime is brought to the barest minimum.
5 major cases were highlighted at the briefing, including the arrest of 9 suspects linked to gun running, kidnapping, and criminal conspiracy. Among them is a 40-year-old Bello Lado, also known as Bingo, and 3 other suspects arrested in Nasarawa and Plateau states. Police investigation revealed that the group had conspired since 2022 to trade nearly 500 rounds of live ammunition before their arrest.
All we do is to ensure that we fight headlong crime and criminality. So what we have here is what we have stated.
Force Public Relations officers say the recent breakthroughs reflect the ongoing reform within the Police Force Intelligence Department aimed at strengthening intelligence gathering and proactive policing. He therefore urged citizens to continue providing credible information to aid the fight against gun running and other violent crimes across the country. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
In a renewed call for greener and smarter cities across Africa, the Nigerian Environmental Society has convened its 34th National Conference and Annual General Meeting in Abuja, bringing together key voices in the nation's environmental sector. Our correspondent brings the details.
With the theme, Sustainable Cities with Smart Solutions in Africa, the place of environmental management and social justice, the conference brought together environmental experts, policymakers, and stakeholders to chart a sustainable course for African cities. Speaking during the opening ceremony, the national president, Dr. Efebidike Okobia, emphasized the importance of integrating smart technologies and environmental management practices to achieve sustainable urban development.
We are celebrating first the 40th anniversary. The society is 40 years this month, precisely 17th of October, and it is also our 34th national conference. This is the beginning of another 40 years.
Also speaking, Prince Adekunle, a founding member of the Nigerian Environmental Society, expressed delight that the organization which began with just 10 individuals, has now grown to over 35 chapters across Nigeria and even beyond.
Going forward, I would like to see a society that represents who we are as a country. When I open the brochure, I like to see that this society represents who we are as a country, because that was the intention when we started in 1985.
Representing the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Mohamed Fall, the UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, commended the society's effort in promoting environmental awareness and called for stronger partnership to advance climate action and social justice in Africa.
The United Nations stands with you through the Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, through our work on climate adaptation, energy transition, and biodiversity. We are helping to translate the global commitment into local action here in Nigeria.
As the Nigerian Environmental Society marks another milestone in Abuja, participants are optimistic that the discussions will translate into practical steps towards building a cleaner, smarter, and more sustainable cities across Africa. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
Kano State government has commenced sensitization for exclusive breastfeeding across the state. The campaign is to educate women on the importance of the first 6 months breastfeeding of a newborn baby. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin was at the Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital and now reports.
All over the world, health professionals recommend against giving other liquids, including water, to infants younger than 6 months because breast milk provides sufficient hydration and nutrients.
Breastfeeding is like the bedrock of a healthy growth and development. A child that is well breastfed in its infancy tends to do well in its adult life. And many diseases have been established clearly associated with poor feeding practices during infancy and childhood.
But this idea of practice seems very rare in northern Nigeria, hence the need for this sensitization campaign to educate women on the best possible ways to provide all the necessary nutrients and antibodies for healthy development and protect their children against illness like diarrhea, pneumonia and measles.
A lot of research has been done on this particular issue. That is why we now see the importance of the exclusive breastfeeding. It's easy in the north to administer exclusive breastfeeding. That is just what we want to create awareness, because you see, the woman will be given the breast throughout 6 months without water, without even, she's not going to buy the milk. She can't buy the milk. It's already established in her body.
But there are challenges in embracing this exclusive breastfeeding, especially in conservative society like Kano, where poverty plays an important role among the less privileged.
A lot of cultural misconceptions, harmful cultural practices which people are practicing. So it's only through this kind of program that you dispel these misconceptions and then bring in correct information to the mothers so that they embrace this practice.
At the moment, it is very difficult to point a single woman with full 6 month exclusive. But Kano State government seems to have a solution to this.
Kano State government, under the leadership of Alhaji Abubakar Yusuf, is implementing a social protection which empowers households with some cash inputs.
Deep cultural beliefs among these conservative societies and poverty are believed to be responsible for the failure of women to embrace exclusive breastfeeding, especially in northern Nigeria. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Circle. When News Circle returns, federal government approves uniform prices for Renewed Hope housing units across the country. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. In business, the federal government has approved uniform sale prices for housing units under the Renewed Hope Estate program across all states of the Federation. The disclosure was contained in the statement issued by the Director of Press and Public Relations of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Badamasi Ayuba. The housing units, which comprise 1, 2, and 3 bedroom semi-detached bungalows, are parts of the ministry's efforts to make home ownership more accessible and equitable for Nigerians. The federal government has approved a sum of $1 billion for the modernization of the Apapa and Tinkan Island seaports in Lagos, the main commercial entry point into Nigeria's economy. This was stated by Adeboyege Oyetola, Minister of Marine and Blue Economy at the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in Nigeria's conference in Lagos, noting that the upgrades will improve cargo handling and expand capacity to meet global standards. Parts of the gold contained in the ministry's 10-year marine and blue economy strategy. Oyetola added that the government has begun a procurement process to commence similar modernization projects at ports outside Lagos to ensure balanced development. On the foreign scene, US President Donald Trump says his discussion with Russian President Vladimir Putin have yielded results even as he announces new sanctions targeting Russia's 2 largest oil companies. The move signals a tougher stance by Washington as tensions rise over the ongoing war in Ukraine. Zara Nazir reports.
According to the White House, the sanctions are designated to pressure Moscow into agreeing to a peace deal with Kyiv, marking a significant shift from Trump's earlier hesitation to penalize Russia.
Well, I think that in terms of honesty, the only thing I can say is every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So in that sense, but no, look, he's fighting a war. He's in a war. That's 2 very competent sides, and that's the way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time to make a deal. A lot of people are dying.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed the U.S. move, calling it a positive step toward ending the 3-year-old conflict that has claimed thousands of lives. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV News.
Sudan's Army Chief, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has vowed to crush the Rapid Support Forces RSF during a visit to Khartoum International Airport. The statement comes amid continued fighting between government troops and the paramilitary group that has left thousands displaced and the capital in ruins. Our correspondent Uyi Agbemovwegbe reports.
In a video released by the Sudan News Agency, General al-Burhan appeared on the tarmac of Khartoum's International Airport, a site that has repeatedly come under attack in the country's ongoing power struggle. His visit was seen as a bold message to the Rapid Support Forces as he vowed to crush the paramilitary group and restore control over the capital. Authorities say the visit underscores the Sudanese army's determination to hold key strategic sites despite continued RSF assaults. However, with no ceasefire in sight and humanitarian conditions worsening, fears persist that Sudan's crisis could deepen even further. Uyi Agbemovwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
To sports, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has reaffirmed the commitment of the 10th House to advancing sports development and strengthening collaboration with the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN, as the association marks its 60th anniversary. Global Television's Aniete Patrick reports from the National Assembly.
At the National Assembly, it was a celebration of partnership and purpose as the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN, led by its national president, Benjamin Isaiah, paid a courtesy visit to the House Committee on Sports. The visit formed part of activities marking the association's Diamond Jubilee, a major milestone for the body that has shaped Nigeria's sports journalism for 6 decades. Represented by the Chairman House Committee on Sports, Kabiru Ahmadu, The Speaker, Tajin Abbas, commended SWAN for its professionalism and consistency in promoting sports development and national unity.
They already wrote a letter to Mr. Speaker seeking the meeting with Mr. Speaker, and the Speaker directed that we should host them on his behalf. As a committee, we already knew who they are. We have been working with them for over a year, and we know the contribution they are giving in the entire sports industry.
SWAN President Benjamin Azaya expressed gratitude to the Speaker and the committee for their unwavering support, noting that the anniversary would feature a series of events, including a sports summit, novelty match, and a launch of a 2 billion naira appeal fund for the construction of a SWAN house in Abuja.
We are launching an appeal fund of 2 billion to have a SWAN house in Abuja. I mean, for an association that has lived for the past 60 years and cannot boast of a house or of an edifice of our own, we are still being housed at the National Stadium. While we appreciate that, we felt that there's need for us to own a place we can call our own. And we are trusting God to have that appeal fund of 2 billion thereafter.
The week-long celebration, which begins on the 24th of October, will climax with the investiture of 5 new national patrons and the presentation of Diamond Jubilee Awards to 60 distinguished Nigerians, including the Speaker and the House Sports Committee Chairman. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigeria's foremost sports media body, the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN, is rolling out drums to celebrate its 60th anniversary, a milestone marking 6 decades of professionalism and contribution to sports development in the country. The national president of SWAN, Benjamin Isaiah, made this known at a press conference in commemoration of the Diamond Jubilee in Abuja. Again to Anita Patrick.
Founded in 1964, the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria has grown from a small network of journalists into a national institution uniting thousands of sport reporters across the country. As it turned 60, SWAN says its Diamond Jubilee celebration is not just a party but a reflection on the journey of sports journalism in Nigeria and its impact on athletes, administrators, and the fans alike.
Rewarding people. You see, even God rewards people. And we felt that for 60 years of existence, some persons must have contributed in one way or the other to the growth and development of sports through our reportage. And we felt such persons needed to be rewarded.
Awards Committee Chairman Abdul Jafad Oladimeji, the main organizing committee, and the local organizing committee say the 3-day event themed the power of sports media, honoring its legacy, shaping the future, will hold from October 29th to 31st in Abuja. Highlights include a sports media summit, a novelty football match, and the Diamond Jubilee Awards, where over 300 personalities from journalists to sports legends will be honored.
SWAN, by carving out this award, is going to be reformative in the sense that if we succeed in appreciating these people, it will go a long way to show that whatever you are doing in sports, there are people watching you.
Director of Press and Public Relations Kemi Ajayi of the National Sports Commission say the commission is fully in support of SWAN while commending its leadership in its efforts to mark such a milestone.
And I want to say that none of us is smarter than all of us. We should work in synergy. Like my president said, when it is our own occasion, let us celebrate ourselves.
Among dignitaries expected are the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, sports administrators, royal fathers, and veterans of the media industry. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
And that's it on News Circle. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ubong Usoro. Bye for now.